For this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to break down a one-point perspective space. So this particular space is an interior one-point perspective space. So the first thing we're going to do is identify our horizon line, or our eye level. I'm going to do this by making a horizontal line across the page. So a horizon line for this particular image falls near the center of the composition. So next we're going to identify our vanishing point. So our vanishing point for this particular image falls about in the center of the composition, right below the door handles at the end of the hallway. So the vanishing point is where we're looking as the viewer. And once we have our vanishing point established, we're going to identify the furthest plane from us as the viewer. So for this particular image, our furthest plane is going to be at the very end of this hallway, which I'll identify with this rectangle. So next we're going to establish our verticals on the left and right side of the composition. So for the right side of the composition, I'm going to choose this vertical here. And on the left side of the composition, I'm going to pick this vertical element that's near the edge of the elevator. Now, one thing to note when you're choosing your verticals is you want to pick vertical elements that are too close to you, because this can cause distortion within your drawing. Once we have our vertical elements established, we're next going to make our diagonal lines. So to make our diagonal lines, we're going to simply connect the top and the bottom of our vertical elements to our vanishing point. And do the same thing on the left side. So now that we have our initial structure of our image established, the rest of the elements should fall into place. So for example, if I want to draw the doorway here on the left side of the composition, I'll simply make another diagonal line starting from the vanishing point that lines up at the top of that doorway. And then I'll make the verticals. So we don't have to do the bottom diagonal since we already did that when we were making the initial structural guidelines. And I'll show you what that looks like with the photograph turned off. So if I wanted to draw this window on the right side of the composition, I would do a similar approach to drawing the door frame. So I'm going to make my diagonal guidelines at the top of the element and the bottom. And then I'll make the vertical elements. Let me show you what that looks like with the photograph turned off. So now we can see how our image is coming together. And we can also make a vertical line that lines up with the light fixtures in the ceiling of the hallway. So using this approach, it'll give you initial guidelines for drawing your one-point perspective space.